quiet on set. Okay, camera on.
Laura, they won't all be back for 45 seconds, but I'm going to go ahead and unmute you in 3, 2, 1, live.
Right, everyone is slowly coming back here. I'm going to wait till we have everyone. Welcome back. Here we go. Let's come back. Hi, Holly. It's good to see you. I'm just seeing you now. See familiar faces. All right, is everyone back pretty much? It's hard to tell. Oh, a couple more. Okay. We're back. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing with your other sisters about your heroes and your villains. I'd love for a brave soul to unmute and share. You can share about someone else in your group, of what they shared that really hit you, or something you had in common, or what you shared. Either one. I'm just looking for a hand raised, and I will call on you. And Kristen, I see you, beautiful lady. Go ahead and share.
Hi. So in my group, we were discussing, it was just very interesting because one of us was from Hawaii, and then two of us were not, and we were, two of us that were not were both talking about how, I don't remember his name, so I'm sorry, but we were talking about how Hawaii was actually our hero, and how it saved us moving here. And it was interesting because, gosh, I can't stand not saying people's names. Say your name for me out loud.
Sophie.
Pardon?
Sophie.
Yeah, Sophie. But she had lived here, and not Sophie, right? Lived here. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm Patty. I'm the other one that was in there.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I get the names. Okay. So Sophie felt so grateful to know that because for her it had actually been the villain. Hawaii had been the villain growing up here, and so it no longer is. But it was really refreshing for her to hear that from us, that Hawaii has been so special for us and been so life changing.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, sorry, that was so crazy.
No, I love that you shared that. It really hit me. I hadn't really thought about that before, but I mean, in my experience, Hawaii has been such a hero as well. And I love that for the other sister was a villain that changed into a hero. How powerful is it when that happens? You know, what a bond that creates. Thank you so much. So now we're going to move on with that, those elements in the heart. The next one is empower the hero. So now that you know who or what or the place even of the hero, how can you empower, like raise them up, make that hero more visible? Because as we come up with strategies to do that, you become even more aligned with your mission and with your ideal clients, and specifically how you're going to help them. With my clients, if I think about the hero being their voice and their story, I know that I really want to pour work into coming up with tools and techniques, just like this heart method that I worked on, so that I can empower that hero for them. So think about that for a moment and take some notes. Like, what would you do? How can you empower the hero? Because the more we do that, the more that villain is going to lose its power over us. Whether it's self-doubt, whether it's negativity, whatever it is, it loses the power. The third, the A, is amplify the stakes. This is kind of my favorite one because I hope it's okay if I say this on air, but like some shit's gotta go down because before our stories can really get good, before we can really be engaging and compelling, things often need to go from bad to worse before they get better. Think about Aisha's story that's coming to mind for me right now. And that's one of the reasons it makes it so gripping and compelling, and we're wanting so much, we're rooting for her. We are experiencing empathy when she shares that story. It's so powerful, and we won't forget it. Aisha first shared her story with me years ago now, and I'll never forget it. I remember all of the details. I don't remember someone's PowerPoint from like a week ago, but I remember that. I remember all of it. So how do we raise the stakes? This is going to be built into the template I'll be sharing with you next. But think about the elements that happened that maybe are feeling more vulnerable to you. What was really the catalyst where it was just too much to bear? Like I shared, just leaving that simple staff meeting, but knowing I couldn't take living like that anymore. Things had to get bad before I could acknowledge to move on. So make sure that you increase the stakes and the risk. Also, if you're looking at a story marketing, and you're talking about a client story, think about what that particular client that comes to mind for you had to lose. Like what would they lose if they didn't work with you? And raise those stakes up for them. The next is relatability. Relatability. And someone had mentioned in the chat earlier when I asked why do we tell stories, they had said relatability, and we can all relate to them. It's so true. But relatability for me is tied very closely with knowing your audience. You've got to be able to know, like, really who's in that room. What are their pain points? Who are their villains? Who are their heroes? And what stories do I have to share with them, whether they're from my own life or from someone I helped, that they're going to be able to relate to? What do they find funny? What is really going to connect to them? I'm going to share something that happened to me that really drilled this home for me just a couple years ago. I was at Kahilu Theater as part of the all-women's comedy show, and I was so excited to be there on that stage. I put a lot of work into it, and it went really well. Like, I was just really proud of myself because I was so scared. And my whole set, it was good. And then the next week I got invited to Oahu. I was at a bar. I was like, I'll just do the same set. It went really well, and I'm gonna do it again. And I know when people talk about bombing, they mostly talk about like awkward silences, but really, as I was bombing in that bar, it was like I was just filled with existential dread. Like it was so much worse than just awkward silence. It's a terrible feeling. And here's what I neglected to really look at. Those were two completely different audiences. People at the bar, they just wanted me to be loose and not so polished and just, talk to them directly, right? They're drinking and eating, and I remember being like mad at them because they weren't paying attention to me and they were eating. And if I just would have acknowledged that's who I was speaking to, it would have changed everything. Because no matter what, you have to love your audience. You love your audience. You know who they are. Whether it's just you're doing a webinar, or you're writing web copy, or you're standing here on this beautiful stage speaking to people, you have to know who they are. And the last one, transformation. Never leave that part out of your story. That's the goods. That's what, we've suffered through the risk and the stakes and everything else, and now we want to know the results. So the results are the gifts. The gifts that you've gained from that journey, or your client has gained from that journey. What's the transformation that they've experienced because of that? Because of that. So knowing all of these different elements, we're going to take some of this elemental energy and infuse it into the next part, which is working through the storytelling template, which is in your special packet. But you can also, it's all right here, up here, so you can also just write it right down on paper, and it couldn't be easier. If you've ever done Mad Libs when you're a kid on long road trips, maybe I'm dating myself, but just filling in the blanks with silly things. I don't know what that means. Page page 11, thank you. Page 11 of your workbooks has this template for you. Thank you so much, Tina. So this is a no-fail template because it makes it so easy to have all those elements built in here. There's a place to begin and start to identify who the hero is and who the villain is, and there's a catalyst moment for the risk to be increased. But we're going to begin at the beginning with, if you're telling your origin story, you may want to consider starting once I was. Once I was. And if you think back to my story, for those who are really paying close attention, that's how I began it. Once I was too scared to speak. That's how I began. If you're telling a client's story, maybe think about testimonial you got and you really want to share their story, their journey, you might say, once I had a client, or once there was a woman. Or if we make Hawaii the hero, once I boarded a plane and I moved to this beautiful island. So you're beginning wherever you really want to begin for the specific story you want to tell, whether it's an origin story of your particular journey or a client's story. Every day establishes, the next one, every day, simply establishes a kind of like a regular routine. You're in the ordinary world, but something's a bit off. Like something is not quite right. For me, it was every day I feared people asking me questions. Right? So whatever that is for you, where you're starting to build in those stakes right after every day, and then you're building them up and building them up even more, that risk and those stakes, things are starting to get even worse. Then one day, the next line is that catalyst moment where you knew, or your client knew something had to give, right? Something had to change. Something had to change. If you're getting really stuck with where even to begin, sometimes I advise to begin there. Begin with number 3. Right? Think about a time in your life where you broke down, or you hid in the bathroom, or a client of yours where they, maybe it was a tragic event that happened in their life, that you ended up being their mentor, or something that happened in your life where you knew you had to begin making a change. That is the catalyst, catapult into the transformation. Number 4, because of that, is building up that momentum. It's going to be those initial results, and here we get more positivity, right? Because we're contrasting it now with those stakes and the risk and all the darkness. Contrast that now as the light begins to shine and things slowly begin to get better. You have that idea, there's a voice in your head, right, that tells you to do something. That's the light. That's the light. Because of that. And I like to do this one twice because it builds up even more momentum, because our stories are not linear. There is no point A to point B and then we're done. They're messy. They're messy, but at the very least, they are a beautiful arc. There is a rise of action, and we want to keep people in that momentum of your story. And then don't forget the transformation, and that's where number 6 comes in. Until finally, it's going to wrap up that story in a beautiful bow as a gift to be able to share with others. And often it's beautiful to be able to, at the very end of your story, to reflect back in some way to that beginning. Just to really highlight just how far you've come because of that story. We are going to be now giving you, actually before that, let me go through real fast my examples. And I can leave some of these up on the screen if you'd like to. This is the example. This is a shortened version of my origin story that I already told today. So you can see I've got all of that, right? Once I was, you could also say I used to be too scared to speak every day, right? I went through that. Then one day, because of that, I realized that what I feared could set me free. That's a message I use often in my speeches, and then because of that, more things begin to change for the positive until finally I found my purpose and my mission. So that's just an example to show how you can shorten it, or as I did earlier, you can make it a little longer. You can go off the cuff a bit, right? So if you're speaking at a conference, you might make it longer. If you're introducing yourself to a networking group, you might have something really short, but it'll really help frame everything beautifully for you. The next one is a example of a client story, and this is a story that I wrote for Hamakua Kohala Health Center. It's based on that, where I couldn't know a lot of details or even the name of who I was writing about, but they were collecting patient stories to be able to share for a capital campaign fundraiser. They were meeting with bankers whose language is usually just money and numbers and graphs and all of that, and instead they shared stories, and their campaign was very successful. This one I love. There once was a man who never smiled. Every day when he looked in the mirror, he was reminded of what he didn't have. He didn't have any teeth, or a job, or health insurance. Then one day he discovered Hamakua Kohala Health Center. They offered him a sliding scale for his dentures, and more than that, hope. Because of that, he was able to get the dental care he needed and gain more confidence. Because of that, he secured a job. Until finally, he got himself out of poverty, and today, when he looks in the mirror, he has a lot to smile about. So that's an example of a marketing story that they used all over the place. So you can choose between either of these, whatever feels good to you, your origin story or a marketing story about a client. And you are going to get 10 minutes to work on this template, to fill it in as much as you can. If you've been in my workshops before, you've been here last year or the year before, I think I've done this before, and you might have already done a story. This is your chance to tell a new story. Work on a different story, or refine the one that you've already started. Happy storytelling, and I'll see you back here in 10 minutes. I'm gonna stay on if
We
anybody
are clear.
has questions. Okay.
We're clear.
Oh, never mind.
Alright, we have 30 minutes left.
Okay, perfect. So they're gonna have 10 minutes now.
Yes, so
And
we'll
this
bring
is down
you
to
back.
20, and then they're gonna come back.
No breakout. Oh, they're just
Yeah, there is. So we're gonna come back, and then they'll go into a breakout with for 10 minutes.
Yes, just now it's just silent writing, no breakout.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Silent writing. Yeah, I meant after that. They'll go into a
Okay.
breakout. Okay. Okay. First.
Do you want writing music?
Yeah, writing
go
music.
ahead, put writing music.
Writing music. Okay, so 10 minutes, come back, then they'll go right in. I think I'd rather have them go right into the breakout to share with each other, and then come back and share.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Music is playing. Alright, yes, so, when you welcome them back,
Mhm.
I will give you the thumbs up when the breakout rooms are ready,
Okay.
and then you can send them in.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to. Am I gonna be able to see the chat some other time you sent it to me? Like, I mean, I can see it, but like, because I wasn't really reading through everything.
Okay.
But would I be able to like have a copy of it? or
Oh, yeah, we
something
could do
like
that.
Okay.
We
thank
can do that for you.
Okay.
Just remind me
So
after
I
you're
don't
done.
miss something. What a great story. This template school.
Your
Thank you so much for
Yes,
boom.
1 o'clock.
I'm done. To the story. Oh.
She'll
Alana
share
did that.
her
That's
videos
awesome. You can see that story's
Here we go. Okay. That is clear.
I've got time for water. I'm gonna go get some water.
I know. I feel like a real production assistant or production manager. I'm not this.
I used to do that for MTV. It was so fun.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know you did that.
It was just for one show.
Heidi, you had another life.
I know. I've had many lives.
Sorry, okay. And then one day, two people came into my life to show compassion and
Mute yourself, ladies, please. What? What happened?
Sorry, I'm gonna choke.
yourself, ladies.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious.
Funny.
This is so funny on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's interesting, right?
Because I didn't go last year, but I went to the first one. I won the grand prize.
Oh.
This year. That's my fault.
Behind the scenes, you get the first look at how we do everything.
Yeah. I became involved. And I'm like, you don't really surround yourself with such wise to be a mom. Or like powerhouse women in my life.
Yep, there you go.
I must be a crackheads.
There you go. I support this. You are who you surround yourself with.
I'm not saying I don't really know my friends are crackheads, but that's okay.
That's okay.
There's a big part to see out there, and nobody's really professional or doing anything with their lives, so it's nice to come over to this side where everyone's grown-ups.
It helps. Yeah, I want, all my friends like back in my other states that I lived in were very limited mindsets and everything, and it's not until I moved here that I surrounded myself with these ladies, and everyone has their own business, and everyone's like striving to do like six-figure incomes and stuff, but I'm like, shit, I can do it too.
That's what's up.
Like she's already pre-launched her course, and I'm working on a course outline.
Nice.
So we're just like
Craziness. And last year at this time when I was at third year, I didn't have a business shop.
You didn't what?
I didn't have my business shop. Like I was kind of maybe considering doing it, but I was pretty scared and I thought it was good enough if I knew it. And all those excuses, so.
sometimes you just need to surround yourself with people who have things that you aspire to be, and that helps you give you confidence.
It's scary stuff, no matter what. And if you start hanging around people who are nervous about it and doing it anyway, and willing to talk about that, it starts to feel more doable.
Yeah.
Even though it's still scary.
Yeah.
And then especially when you do things like this behind the scenes and you see how shit is being run, you're like, shit, I could do that for myself.
It's nice to see.
Is Aisha in here?
She's
No,
no,
she's not.
she's still
She
out.
actually
She's
didn't
eating.
I know, too bad she didn't hear that.
Oh. She would have appreciated that.
Aisha, you're a superhuman.
I don't think she heard Aisha there. Talking about your coffee. She's talking about coffee. Tea and coffee. Oh, I'll also say Ingrid has been texting me about today. She said the chat with me as well.
Okay, good. That made me feel happy. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff, right? Like that's
I'm actually gonna ask them to do, I remember somebody did last year, but I'm like,
Sure.
when I come back, I'm just gonna ask them to put the first line in the chat.
Okay, love
And
it.
then go into the breakout.
Okay.
Just so you know, so you have like a little bit of time.
Perfect. I'll give you a thumbs up when
Okay.
the breakout room is ready, and then you
Okay.
can just launch them right in.
Okay, thank you.
5 minutes. Huh? Oh, we have Allie and Whitney.
Oh, and they're remote.
Yeah, they're remote. I need to figure out if they're in the Zoom though, because they need to check in with me.
So 10 minutes is still, that's good, right, for them to go back and break out. Is there enough time?
Yeah, so
Okay.
at 1
Need to bring
o'clock, I'm
some
gonna bring them
socks.
out. I'm gonna recall them
Here's
here,
some
and then
tea and
we'll have 20 minutes after that.
Oh, okay.
So 10 minutes for
So
breakout.
10 minutes, and then I'll still have like 10 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, which I almost all that. Or well, you're right, because I
Yeah.
can take more shares. Okay, good. Okay.
And you're gonna do the CTA at the end, remember, Laura?
I'm doing the CTA
And she's also
and
sending
then
them to
bio.
bio.
And sending them to bio.
Yeah,
And that is
which I'm
not in your
not-
script.
I'm not gonna
because-
forget is in
She's
my
gonna
head.
take Jen's lines.
But
Yeah.
she's not using the main script, she's using her own script.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
you're
her
not switching back to it after she's done?
I'd have to switch back to it while she's talking, so if there's a good chance that I can do that, I will, but it's hard to do that while she's speaking from her stage.
You would have to do that if I entered stage anyway, right? You would have to switch to my script?
Yeah.
Yes.
So get to the point where they do the.
Can you copy paste it into my script at the end?
Probably, yeah. Well, no, because you're on a PDF, I can't.
Oh,
copy paste.
shoot, okay.
So if it's you just need a few seconds to switch scripts, to find scripts?
Yeah, just a different tab. We can just switch it.
So,
I can just talk about, I can do like my book thing
yeah.
that I'm like while you're, and then just
See
switch
if I
it.
can-
Well,
Okay.
the CTA has to do with your
Yeah,
storytelling
right,
and your
right,
book.
all
and
that.
da-da-da.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So just
so I'll
fill that
just-
time with
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay.
And then they'll find the script to switch to.
Highlight that in yellow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna highlight it in yellow. What we're gonna have you say. It's on the screen right now.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay. Singer striping for a video. Oh, okay. Nice.
There's the highlighter. It's hard to find when it's little. Okay, so that's
Oh,
good.
that's
That's what you're gonna say
perfect.
from this script, Laura. You can read it, right?
Okay, that's great.
Okay, and
yeah.
I'm just gonna switch it over
Okay.
after you've done your shares, right?
Yeah.
After you say thank you.
Yeah,
And
saying
you're free
thank
blah,
you.
blah, blah, blah.
And in the chat, if you can put, I gave to Alana. It's not that link. I think Alana has
I have the
a link for the
updated one.
Kindle.
Yeah,
that
I
one.
already gave it to my team.
Okay, so just have that one, and then the book a consult call they can have with me. That's free, if that's okay to share too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
okay.
course.
Okay.
We're working.
So once you say sharing a link to your new book, and you may even pull out the new book and show it off.
I will,
and then I'm gonna
yeah.
Switch over to the other script,
Yeah.
and then you can say that's.
Okay. Thank you. You're amazing. This is really fun. Why have I not done this before?
2 minutes.
You've got time, babe, because they're gonna go bio break, so you've got like
Yeah.
another 15 minutes.
Perfect. Thanks, babe.
I want the setup at home now. This would be so good. I feel so diva. My own
You
studio.
feel what?
I'd feel so diva like I had this own setup. Like,
Right?
Sorry, Kim, you can't have an office, really? I need my own studio.
Yes.
Okay, you wanted me to share your book link. What else did you want me to share in the chat?
The consult link, and just like my contact information.
Oh, it's in
I
your
have in
contact?
It's in the bottom of my
Got
script. You see it? Yeah.
Oh, it's in the bottom of your script.
I think so. I think it's in the very bottom. I have like my name and my email and my website stuff.
Tina, your what? Sorry, use your word set. My Canva presentation on this computer just disappeared. I think I somehow closed it without realizing it. Can you put it in our Google chat really quick if you have it handy? Just a link to it really quick.
The one that you're working on this computer?
Yes, the main presentation for the whole day just
Yeah.
closed over here, and I kind of need it, and I can't.
Okay,
Copy
copy.
right now.
Now
I
I'm
have
sending
to
it to
quickly
Heather.
switch to my car. So
There you go, hon.
okay. Sorry.
Okay. Well, this sucks. It's 1 o'clock. I just
1
saw this
minute.
message. Is Elizabeth Floor in the?
Huh?
Elizabeth Floor.
Yes, I
She-
wrote about her. She was in earlier.
She was. Okay.
Okay, I have your consult link up, so I'll share
Thank
that in the
you.
chat.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Ready? Quiet on set. Video. Start video. And then 3, 2, 1. Unmute.
3, 2, 1, unmute.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad that you had that time to work. But this is the part that I love most, is you getting to now share your stories. But here's how I want to start before you go into a breakout room to be able to just share with us a small group first. If everyone could write the very first line of their story, just that. If you could write that sentence in the chat. The very first line. There once I was, once there was. Once I was scared to fail. Once I was stuck in chronic illness and depression. Once I was a victim of domestic violence. Once I was very scared, trusting in my body. Once I was finding a purpose. Once I did not feel ready or skilled enough. Once I was stressed out. Once I was a young woman completely lost. Once I was a kid growing up seeing abusive behavior. Once I had a very successful client who had lost her confidence and hope as a mother. I used to be a hardcore drug addict in an abusive relationship. Once I had crippling depression and anxiety. Look
look at that share right there. And let's take a moment to acknowledge how far we've come. How far we've all come. Once I was a woman who thought she was ordinary, unwanted, and replaceable. Look how far you've come. That you acknowledge that you are not ordinary. And we are all extraordinary and worthy of being visible, being seen. We're worthy of blooming in our unique way towards that light. Thank you for sharing those. Now you're going to go into a breakout room where just with a small group you'll be able to share your story with others. And you'll have 10 minutes for that share. And know, though, when we come back, I will be asking for a few people, depending on time, to share with the whole group. So think about that. This is an opportunity for you to be courageous, to speak from your heart by telling all your truth. And the breakout rooms are ready. Thank you.
Video. Testing. Clear.
All right.
Great.
Good deal. Laura, you are killing it.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously.
I like the breakout room stuff.
You
It's like,
have-
oh, this is.
You have a gorgeous speaking voice. Like I feel
appreciate
like
that.
it's
Thank
just got
you.
This calm, cool energy, and we could just sit here and listen to you all day.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It was funny, like one of my therapies for overcoming my stutter was to speak like I was singing. I have a terrible singing voice. But it was like, that's like, I think I still take that with me sometimes, to just like, if I get nervous, I'm always like, okay, just like, it's like a melody, or just speak, and it still helps me. But when I was in speaking competitions, they would tell me, Laura, like, you're gonna put everyone to sleep. Like, you gotta like, you gotta have some vocal variety. And so sometimes I forget that it's good to have like that variety too, because I'm just focusing on just being like fluid, you know. But thank you, appreciate
But it works
that.
for you. I mean, everybody's
Thank you.
different, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, I don't know.
When I
used
try to
be-
get too much, it doesn't feel like me too sometimes,
stick
you
to
know,
what's
like
you,
I'm just trying
for
too
sure.
hard or something.
Sure.
You know? Yeah.
I used to be in Toastmasters, so
Yeah,
one of the
that's
things
where I
we
did the
would grade
competitions.
people on was like
Vocal variety.
vocal variety. And some people
Yeah.
are really, really natural about it, and other people, when they do
They
it, it
are.
sounds really fake. And so it's
I
like,
know.
do what comes natural, not.
No, I
fake.
love Toastmasters, and
Yeah, I do
they're
too. I had
so
a fantastic
good.
Toastmasters club. It was
Really?
cool.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
nice. Yeah, I learned a lot of good things from them. But you know, it's funny, when I started doing stand-up, I had to unlearn basically everything from Toastmasters
Oh, I
to
bet.
be able to do that. Because like
Yeah,
all the
'cause it's
things you
different.
learn to be formal and like this and
Right.
that, and you know, that's not, it just doesn't work that way. It needs to be like raw and just like unpolished, and like you still work on it, but in this different way.
Right.
You know?
And never saying or feels unnatural in regular
So
talk.
it is unnatural,
like, you
right?
can do it in a speech
No,
like
it's
what
so
you're doing
hard.
now or in Toastmasters,
Yeah.
but if you do that when you're regularly talking with
I
people,
know.
it sounds.
When I found out they were going to be counting how many times I said a filler word
I
in
know.
Toastmasters, I was terrified. Like, what?
Wait a second. Really?
Yeah. I think it was 16 I had
Mm.
I
once.
was like,
Yeah.
Jen's here.
Oh yeah, she's not
Okay,
here.
okay, never mind. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I got to do competition. I mean, I did a few competitions just with my club, but
Ah.
I got to go further, I guess, to what was division or district or something like that.
Mm.
With
Knees
a
popping.
speech about
I'm gonna go around
how
the other
I
way.
did an Ironman.
Oh,
I did Ironman
Oh my
both
God, my
ways,
knee's
but my second
popping.
one,
Mm.
I woke up the morning of the race
I twisted
and
my
I had a
knee
terrible
2
cough,
months
like
ago,
fever,
and I've been in this
sore
brace.
throat, stuffy, just felt.
Oh no.
And I was,
I
had to
torn
first make the
ligaments
decision if
and
I was going to try to do it or
ACLs,
not.
and I got
And
a
then
little
I decided
kneecap
I was gonna try to
fracture.
do it. I had no idea.
Oh my
you know,
goodness,
I was
kneecap
well
was
trained,
crazy.
but is it even safe to do an
Take it
Ironman?
slow, take it nice and
Wow.
So the whole
Yeah.
story about
Oh,
hard
I
it
would love
was
to
to
hear
do that
that.
and how it wasn't what I wanted, but it was really cool.
But you did it. The woman that won the World Championship this year, I'm nerdy with all of it still, so I still watch all those. But she told a story kind of, it wasn't Ironman, but it was something like that, like
Really?
a triathlon type story, and she won. It was so good. 'Cause it
Wait,
was
she
just-
won the race?
No, she didn't win the race. She won the speaking competition. She's
Oh,
the
she won
world.
the
She's the
competition.
current
Got it,
world
got it, got it.
champion of public
That's
speaking.
cool. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Yeah, it was really. I thought it was really good. It was fun. She had a lot of humor in it,
Nice.
and that worked really well. I thought,
Nice.
and a lot of contrast. And it was like, yeah, things went wrong, and it was good.
I mean, in an Ironman, things are always gonna go
Yeah.
wrong. It's like it's kind of like this a little bit, you know.
3 minutes.
You gotta just be prepared for all the
Yeah,
stuff. 'Cause
exactly.
stuff's
So
gonna
Tina, when
happen.
we come back, how much time do I have again?
You'll
Sorry.
have 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, so yeah,
But-
and take maybe.
Don't leave quite yet. We have a surprise for you.
Oh, okay. I won't because I'm gonna be doing the call to action thing.
Right, we're gonna switch that
and
over.
my book thing, and then the bio break thing I'll announce. So if I end a little early, it'll be okay. But maybe I can ask for like 10 minutes. So maybe 3 shares. They tend to be really short.
Yeah.
So that would be. It's powerful to hear like for everyone. I think. So
We
I'll
can
see.
also give you the time you have left on the whiteboard so that you kind of know. You can
Yeah,
gauge a little
okay.
bit. I mean,
Don't-
if you go a little over, it's no big deal.
Wait for me to
Okay.
come back.
Let your vulnerability and passion unite. Let your vulnerability and passion unite. Guide you. Let your vulnerability and passion unite. Guide you in the steps and something with you. Stories open. Of course. I'm probably gonna go off script with that, but you can leave it up right there. Yeah, that's
Okay.
good. Yeah, and that can be up maybe for at the end when I'm just thinking.
After we do shares, right?
Yeah, not now,
All right, quiet on set.
yeah. You're so awesome.
All right, video on.
Video is on. Then go ahead.
Unmute when you're
3,
ready.
2, 1.